Welcome to the Filmsteins, the podcast where we discuss all things movies. Join us as we dive deep into the latest releases, revisit classic films, and explore the art of cinema. Whether you're a film fanatic or just love a good flick, we've got you covered. From Hollywood blockbusters to indie gems, we'll be breaking down the storytelling, the cinematography, and everything in between. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready for some cinematic magic. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/Filmsteins. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level, where the $20 tier grants the ability to request films for future episodes. This is the Filmsteins, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience.
They're an experience.
All around you. And welcome back to another glorious episode of the Filmsteins, the fastest growing podcast in the world.
Whoa.
I'm joined today, as always, by my headless friend,
Oh.
Lucy.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're talking about your favorite horror movie. Is it?
No.
A favorite by someone, including myself. Favorite horror film, Hereditary by Ari Aster. When did it release? 2018. Probably the most awarded horror film of all time. Next to, I would imagine, I don't know, just shooting from the hip here, you guys. Next to, if you want to include Jaws, but The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby, I would guess.
The Exorcist?
Yeah. It's hard to place your butt in, 1973, 74?
Yeah, old.
It's different back then. It's different. I agree. I don't think The Exorcist ages particularly well. It's in this vein of like The Matrix and a lot of early 3D video games. These things may have been pioneering on some level, but they don't belong in the show floor of our museum. They belong in the lobby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, when you go to a museum of ships and stuff and you see really interesting and old pieces of technology, of old scuba gear or stuff, or old navigation systems in the early part of the building, the deeper you get, you see really cool, advanced, just cutting edge shit that just continues to change the world.
Yeah.
And then Mario 64 and The Matrix and Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist and Nosferatu, and don't forget Citizen Kane, of course. These belong in the lobby where people wait and go to the bathroom.
Yeah. It's your appetizer, not your main course.
It's like your appetizer to the appetizer. This is where you check out at. So, enough about that nonsense. We're talking about one of my favorite horror films of all time, Hereditary. Of course, we recently learned that Ari Aster is now my favorite director, so retroactively covering him is always a delight. Although I think we're all gonna be a little bit surprised here to see that I don't have an awful lot to say about Hereditary. I don't think it's a special film in the same way Beau's Afraid is, but I think it's just a super creepy and perfectly made horror film.
Yeah.
All right, what did you think of Toni Collette's performance?
I thought she did a great job. I thought everyone did a pretty great performance job. Maybe what's his name? The wolf.
Alex Wolff.
Alex Wolff. I don't know if I want to call him a bad performer, or no one did a bad job. I don't know if he had the weakest performance or if just his character, Peter, was supposed to be giving me those vibes on the weaker side. I mean, he pretty much saw his sister get fucking murdered and decapitated. So how do you react in real life to that? How does one go about living their life with their parents? And there's only 2 kids. Maybe if there were 7 of you, all right, you lose one, okay, not too big on the guilt. But there's only 2 of you and you lost one. There's one left. Holy crap. So for what it was, I think he did a great job. But if I had to pick a weaker performance, I'd pick him.
That's interesting for you to say that, because I think Alex Wolff is starting to enter this echelon of actors. He's not in an awful lot of things, so it's, it's slow moving here. But he's got a weird thing about his performances across all of his work. Like in the Pig movie. Pig with Nick Cage.
He was in Pig?
Yeah, he was the other main character. He was the main supporting character.
Yeah, I don't remember him.
And there's just something kind of not traditional about him, about how he acts and performs. And I'm not sure how I feel about Alex Wolff either. I like him, and it's going to take a few more movies for him to enter the echelon of my Andrew Garfield's, Ranger Radcliffe's, and Robert Pattinson's, and Joaquin Phoenix's and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's quite in that boat yet, but he is at the very least kind of a different... He's interesting to watch just from a performance point of view. I can't decide if I like him or not. I'm kind of in this... Because he's not generic. There's nothing generic about his performance. Would you agree?
Yeah.
He's off.
I agree.
Like,
something's off.
And it's hard to know. I think this applies to a lot of his characters. I don't know. Actually, I can't think of any more off the top of my head except Pig and I can't remember. But he almost feels like he's acting a little younger than he is. Because what is he, 16, 17 in this?
16. I think he's supposed to be 16 in this.
The way he acts makes me feel like he's a little bit younger, but he's
actually in a lot of things that I forgot he was even in. And honestly, I get him and his brother confused a bit. I don't remember who's in
Nate.
Which movie? Nat Wolff.
Nat.
Yeah, I know one of them was in The Fault in Our Stars. No, is it The Fault in Our Stars? But I think that's Nat Wolff. But Alex Wolff was in Old.
Yeah.
I remember that now. That was actually a pretty good film.
I liked Old, yeah. We were in the minority with that.
Oh, yeah.
That's another poo-pooed upon M. Night Shyamalan film. I liked Old.
He's in the Jumanji movies?
Oh, that's right.
Like the new one?
That's right. I think by every measure, Alex Wolff is much more prolific in the acting space than Nate.
A Quiet Place? I don't remember him in that. I'd have to... You know what? I'd have to do some... One? Yeah. Have to do some... Well, actually, this says A Quiet Place Day 1. Is that what the movie's called? Oh my gosh, no. This is 2024.
Oh, it's coming up.
It's coming up. Okay, so he's going to be in...
Interesting. He's starting to build a really interesting portfolio. I forgot about the Jumanji movies too. Those are very, schlocky. What do you call that in the most respectful way possible? It's like you're just your normal commercial,
like family TV, family film.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, your normal commercial family film with your ensemble cast, and it's just fun and nonsensical, and because they're not, I don't want to. There's nothing wrong with them. They should exist. They want to exist. They should exist. I like those existing in their space. I don't love The Rock. I think he's kind of a mark of low quality.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, but does Hollywood, the internet, does it seem to love The Rock? Or does it make fun of The Rock? What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's more of a make fun of.
But he gets so many projects. He's part of huge things. And he was
I mean, if you can afford it, and if you're involved, it's who you know and who will let you do stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're loved or hated or a meme or what. If you're a name, they're going to let you do it.
Yeah. And my confusion goes even deeper because he is arguably the most famous wrestler of all time. And he's loved for his wrestling career. And I just, I have a kind of a deep heritage with wrestling. And I missed the Rock era, but I loved wrestling at one point. And I just can't place my mind in a place where...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anyone who loves him besides...
Like, I don't really think meme actors exist. No one's going to go to see... Maybe with the exception of, like, Nick Cage, but he's kind of... this rare beast.
Okay, but are you going to see Jumanji for The Rock, or are you going to go see Jumanji because of Kevin Hart or Jack Black, and The Rock just happens to be there? How many movies does he just happen to be there when you're going to go see?
I don't know, because all the movies he's in slant him as being the main character, and he had that whole PR cycle of him and Kevin Hart posting all this shit during the making of the 2 Jumanji films.
But was it him by himself, or did he need Kevin Hart there?
I don't know. And then during the Video Game Awards, Jeff Keighley, I guess, got in bed with The Rock's manager about promoting The Rock's movie at the time, and The Rock was in the commercial. It was really cringe and fucking weird because it was like this FaceTime commercial for, I think, Black Adam is the name of it. Is that right? Black Adam? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I'm not
Terrible
sure.
movie.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anyone who loves The Rock, but there seems to be a weird love for him, or at least
And I feel like I'm the crazy one, because when I see The Rock in something or hear that he's part of something, I'm just thinking that's a mark of not very good.
I thought we were just making fun here. No? Am I on the wrong side of the joke here?
Yeah, I feel like that.
Just going around. Okay.
I feel like that.
I think Alex Wolff is also going to be in Oppenheimer.
Wow. He has got the career, man. He is working with some big guys. He really is. It's cool. I'm still not sold on. I'm kind of like Margot Robbie, although I think I like Alex Wolff more than Margot Robbie, but Margot Robbie's just doesn't quite do it for me yet. But I like the movie she's in. You know what I mean? She's like this, I'm not sure how I feel about how you're doing your thing, you know? And maybe that's a good place for an actor to really be in, because it's kind of challenging you.
Yeah, I think Margot Robbie has the Suicide Squad bad association, I guess. I don't know how to phrase that.
You don't like her Harley Quinn?
No. I don't. So maybe that leaves like a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
With her, but then in any of the other stuff she's in, she's pretty good. And I feel like, do I like her? Do I not like her? What's going on here?
Yeah, Barbie might be the answer, because she's the main character of a movie by a really major important director to cinema right now, and so this might be that final domino that needs to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that movie Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig. Can't wait for that.
Who?
She's the girl who did Lady Bird and Little Women.
Who?
Oh my lord. Oh my lord. We brought up Lady Bird on Beau's Afraid too, because of the
we.
Well, yeah, because we're doing this together.
I don't even know what Lady Bird is.
Oh my lord, it's a coming of age movie.
Okay.
About a girl in her late teens, and she's about to enter college, and she's trying to find herself, and it's a cool movie.
All right.
And it's got the that guy it's got the therapist from Beau's Afraid in it.
Okay.
He's a counselor character.
That's when you brought it up. Okay.
There it is.
There it is.
So Hereditary is a pretty wild film. Does it feel like a normal horror movie?
No, it definitely doesn't feel like a normal horror movie. And I know I watched this the first time, probably around the time it came out. Maybe 2019, maybe like a year after.
I didn't know that.
I think you made me watch it.
I didn't know that.
And I liked it, but I didn't. It didn't click with how much I would like it the second time. Especially with some of the creepy parts. I'm trying to remember if I fell asleep the first time I watched it, because this second time it was a whole lot creepier than I remember it was.
This is the second time?
Yeah, this is
it.
This is it. Yeah, this is my second time. Like a few days ago when we watched it.
Oh, I've probably seen this movie 25 times.
Second time. And holy shit, was it a lot creepier. And it's not... Well, no, never mind. I was going to say something, but that's a lie. I was going to say it's not like your other typical horror movies, or what scared me wasn't what other horror movies scare me, but I thought that was the lie. It is. The elements that scared me were very what other horror films scare me. Like her being on the fucking ceiling, just hanging on there. And it was scarier because I didn't remember that she did that, and I didn't immediately see it on the screen, and she was there and I didn't notice until like a fucking minute later that she was up there, and it scared the crap out of me. It was, oh my god, my heart jumped out of my chest. And then, Charlie herself, I can't do creepy faces, and they picked a great actress to play a creepy 13-year-old girl, and she creeped me out the whole film. So, there's the creepy faces. And yeah, that little sound. Yeah, that one. That was kind of creepy. That one's okay. I can, creepy sounds are fine. Seance, they're fine. Cults, they're fine. Demonic possessions, I can do those all day. People catching on fire, also fine. But goddamn, creepy faces.
Those are the ones that get you.
Those are the ones that get me.
Yeah, I've never met anyone who is afraid of, or who gets creeped out by the seances and the possessions and stuff. I've never really met anyone who gets unsettled by any of that.
Well, there's people, and there's one in my family specifically, who will not watch a movie because of that, because of the seance possession stuff. Like, nope, I'm staying away from that. Okay. So I don't know if it's a creep out thing or if it's I'm just not gonna go there thing.
They're missing out. They're missing out. I'm envious, It's kind of ironic, I guess, that people who get too scared to even watch the movie don't watch it, and so they don't get the experience. And the people who love this kind of stuff, most of these people are not getting spooked out in any way whatsoever.
I think it's if you watch these kinds of films, you're inviting these spirits and bad energy into your house. I think that's the direction there. Which, that's still creepy enough to make you not watch a film, so
I guess I'm not superstitious enough.
You know what? I'm not going to say I'm not, because I will not play a Ouija board. I'm not doing that shit. Nope, not touching that. Not.
Well, that's interesting because I have one right here.
No, I'm you couldn't pay me enough to even bring one of those things in my house. You can't.
Yet they sell them at Barnes & Noble. And Target, baby. That's the great. That's funny.
That's hilarious.
This movie has an interesting place in my mind because when I think about it, I don't remember how great it is, or at least when some time has passed. And then when I rewatch it, I'm always like, oh my god, every shot, every scene, everything, all the setup is just excellent. For example, what did you think about that zoom in intro shot into Alex's bedroom?
Is that when it was the miniature replica of his bedroom?
Yeah.
And then we zoom in and then it was his real bedroom? That was fucking awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
How do you do that without making us think, okay, oh here it is, here's where it switched, or
Yeah, I was looking for it. I was looking at all the items and stuff and shit in the room, and I was just waiting for a little shift.
Yeah.
And it's just perfectly made. I have no idea how that was done. I mean, I'm sure a little CG was involved, but it was perfectly used. There's nothing like it. It's awesome.
That was fucking awesome.
And it's on a production level, that's just such a good way to set the table. What is this movie? That transition basically. That was literal seamless transition. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was awesome. I don't know if I could have ever appreciated something like that until now, but that was incredible. And I try to pay attention to see if it happened anywhere else throughout the film, but I don't think it did. You know, because she had a lot of miniature replicas of everything. I mean, she even made a replica of Charlie's death. Her head just laying there. But nope, nothing was as cool as that. Although all the miniatures were really cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. They help kind of. It's a really interesting way to show you what a character is kind of experiencing on top of what they're, letting us in on with, through Annie's character.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's really cool because I don't see art and things, characters are creating used to actually express themselves, ironically enough, right? It's usually just what they do. It's the character's hobby,
Mm-hmm.
They're filling out the character development sheet, and that's what they land on. Painting. What does that mean for the character, How is that going to come into play? And it often doesn't, but it certainly does here, and it's so fucking cool, and it's such a cool, creepy thing, Yeah. And it feels very natural. It's nothing.
Yeah, not forced.
Yeah. I mean, I think up until the last 20 minutes of this movie is for the most part just a family drama, with some weird undertones, And I think that's one of the things that makes this movie really great, actually, is it doesn't have a lot of paranormal shit going on. We've got a psychotic mother who is, rightfully so psychotic because of her mother. We've got this kid who has a psychotic mother who is kind of being a really insane teenager by through the things he says to his mother and stuff. Not really his actions. He's kind of a regular teenager in that way. And then we slowly see. It's not really even slow. I guess it's kind of an all of a sudden thing when the mother lets in the demonic energy or whatever,
Yeah.
the demon, I guess, literally, Payman. And then we see that shift with Peter, especially, at school, and him falling in trances and seeing the weird lights and stuff, and which is also very weird because that's like a very, I don't know if it's just me, but those lights where you'd see these like iridescent kind of almost weirdly symmetrical sunbeam type lights, you know what I mean? And we see it throughout the movie, but they feel very alien, like extraterrestrial kind of feeling. But I think that might just be me. Because you do also see, when you watch a lot of ghost hunting shit on TV.
You see those?
Not quite, but you see floating orbs.
Ah.
Like little, like, motes of little stray light just floating around and stuff. And it's fucking weird.
Yeah, all I think of when I see that stuff is someone's trying to put a mirror and get my eyeballs, and you make me close my eyes.
Yeah.
That's all I imagine.
That's kind of funny too, though, because something you might do when you're scared is close your eyes.
That's true.
So it's kind of an interesting thing to say.
And someone's watch reflection trying to get your friend to close their eyes.
Yeah.
Kind of like you're playing with them. So I mean,
there might, yeah.
Yeah, there might be something there.
I like that. Yeah, we have this weird, not really dysfunctional family, but they are just kind of going through growing pains through it by.
I don't know if I would say that. Okay, true, there's no demonic shit. No one's making shit float. No one's possessing your body for you to do anything. But it's too creepy to just say, it's family drama.
Well, we gotta have a mood set, We can't lose, we can't have uneven moods throughout the movie. So, yeah, we gotta.
Yeah,
we gotta have some tether to it. But, like, what literally happens for, at least 66% of the movie, probably, it's not very possession-y.
Yeah, it's not very possession-y, but it's still creepy as fuck.
It's still creepy. It is creepy. And I think that's just Ari Aster and friends kind of mastering a sense of mood.
And then, those bits where the mom is trying to kill Peter.
What a great way of depicting her psychoticness and her
She's like, I'm not doing anything to you. Yes, you were.
I don't even know what to be creeped out by. Is this a possession movie, or are you fucking just
Is
insane?
he seeing things?
Yeah.
What is going on? Kudos to the dad.
I know, right? He is.
How did he not leave earlier? How did he just... I don't know.
He's super patient.
He was so patient.
And I liked his character and the performance quite a bit because he was that kind of character. He's that kind of person where he was built in such a way, maybe, and it doesn't maybe take much because you introduce to the character. He's soft spoken, he's gentle, he's understanding, and then that's like all you really probably need to know that when he snaps, you mean business, Yeah. And even his snap isn't much. It's just basically him saying no in some capacity,
Yeah.
And it just is really effective. It's which the mood helps with that too, because you have like a kind of a creepy mood with someone who's patient. Like I don't know. Is there a patient character in another horror movie at all? They're not. That's not usually a character trait I associate with horror movies. Empathetic and tolerant, and like he feels real. He feels like a real husband. I don't associate realism with horror movies, I guess.
That's funny. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I can't think of one.
Yeah. And I especially don't, I guess not to reduce what I just said, but I also don't place like actual character with horror movies. There's not a lot, you can't really get big bullet points of character with most horror movies. I don't think it's usually a bunch of archetypes and catalysts to just kind of get things moving, and you don't have dramatic scenes like Peter and his mom yelling at the kitchen table about how they feel about each other. That's not the point in a lot of horror movies, but we get it here.
Yeah,
it's cool, isn't it?
It's what horror movies should be kind of striving for now.
And we are seeing a movement into something like that. Not necessarily drama horror, but definitely experimental on some level. I think they're calling it elevated horror or whatever, enlightened horror. I'm not sure what they're calling it exactly, but like X and Pearl and Infinity Pool, and I don't know if the guys who are making the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the new Scream, I don't know if they'd put themselves in that category. I wouldn't. If hopefully they're self-awareness enough that they know they don't fit into that. Yeah, in fact, wouldn't. I think Hereditary still kind of stands on its own in that way. I don't think there's a lot. I'd have to really. I mean, Rosemary's Baby is the only other movie I can think about that I can think of that's kind of similar in tone, in that it kind of subverts your expectations on one level, where it sets up this drama about about gaslighting, basically, and this woman into not thinking something's wrong.
Yeah.
That not thinking that she's pregnant with the devil, Satan, literally. And then, of course, she is. She gives birth to it at the end, and it's just a big shock. I don't even think you see the baby. It's really kind of cool. A proper remake of Rosemary's Baby could be awesome. It's almost
what The Exorcism of Emily Rose tried to do.
Yeah,
failed,
yeah.
But tried.
Well, I don't know about failed. It kind of is a product of its time.
Our main character, our main girl, we didn't know anything about her. She didn't do a great job. I mean,
you're right. Yeah, you're 100% right.
They could have taken it deeper with her, and then you could have something like this.
Good point. I forgot. And I was just kind of thinking from like just an effective movie and the angle it was taken, but from a dramatic piece.
Yeah, from a dramatic piece.
Not even. Yeah, nothing.
And it's a fucking court case. Come on. How more dramatic can you play with those?
Yeah, again, I was more interested in the opposing side.
Yes.
He had way much more personality and just much more going for him.
Yep.
We knew that he was, I guess we knew that she was an agnostic, and she was like, I'm an agnostic, and okay. Cool. If you knew anything about agnostics and atheists today, them saying that out loud is only the most cringe shit I've ever heard of in my life. Hate to tell you. know you were there before social media and everything, but
I did like what you said in Beau's Afraid, how Ari Aster likes to tell you what's going to happen in, like, you know, towards the beginning of the movie.
were you looking for it?
Yeah, I was looking for it here, and I found one big one for sure.
What is it?
With a bird, and Charlie chopped off that bird's head. And when I saw that happen, and then Charlie fucking got beheaded by the pole.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, look at that. He called it out. And I want to say there was another one, but I didn't write it down, so it's escaping me.
Yeah, I think a lot of the big ones, because I guess we need to be a little careful with saying that, because Ari Aster didn't invent foreshadowing, to be clear. But it's pretty... He does it. What?
No, go ahead.
It's different. I don't know if it's just an Ari Aster flavor of foreshadowing we're seeing here, kind of like with Alfred Hitchcock's a very explicit way of using the camera to tell you if you're invited or not in a conversation. We'll see that later.
Okay.
It's a pretty interesting use of a camera in the 50s and 60s, and I guess even into the 70s, and we still don't see that quite on that level, which is unfortunate. When you see it, you're gonna be like, wow, why is not used everywhere? And it is on some level, because when the conversation is intimate, we get close. We get a close wide shot with the two characters sitting across the table or something. We know we're like it's like an important conversation happening stuff. But we're part of that. We're not like voyeuring on them. That's because we're with our characters. You know what I mean? Like it's
okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's different. Alfred. I would imagine that's probably why Alfred Hitchcock's really forever going to be remembered, and not his horror. His claim to fame with horror is simply, and I would love for someone to tell me I'm wrong and tell me why, but it's making your horror characters dumb as shit. Why would I go up the stairs when there's fucking birds going through the window? That's because I told you so, as the director. You're going to make stupid decisions because I say so, and I would love to hear his philosophy behind that, the next 3 sentences of why. Or is it just his egomania fucking running rampant like Elon Musk? But oh my God. I think Ari Aster foreshadows, I guess it's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I think Ari Aster foreshadows in a really interesting way, I guess. And I think in this movie specifically, he does it through the miniatures, in that the grandma is still present in this family's lives.
Oh.
He does it in that way here. It's not quite as literal as it is in Midsommar. He tells us the literal entire story.
Yeah.
In the first 10-15 seconds on a tapestry. Very cool.
Yeah.
Never seen that in my life. It's not cool because I've never seen it either. It's just fucking very cool, and that's just it. And then in Beau's Afraid, we get this weird meta level of storytelling.
Right.
Very cool. Very fucking cool. And in here, we get more of a traditional type of foreshadowing, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And even with her peanut allergy too. When she was eating the chocolate bar, and her dad was like, "Does that have peanuts in it?"
Am I stupid?
Yes.
Because I feel like we don't even see simple filmmaking techniques like that very often. Am I wrong? We watch a lot of new movies. Every movie doesn't need that kind of foreshadowing either, but I feel like it can be, obviously it can, I mean, is it even worth saying? It's obviously an effective device, right?
Yeah.
But do people just not know how to use it? Because I keep an eye out for foreshadowing, and I mean, maybe I should start bringing it up every time I see it or something in the podcast, but
maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they don't want to play with those anymore.
Do you think it has anything to do with people not understanding how to tell an effective story? Are we in a simultaneous kind of weird rut of storytelling, and then we also have this group of new filmmakers who know how to change things up, maybe not for the better. We will see, I guess, in decades to come what the kind of effect this has on TV. But Is a lot of commercial mainstream movie just not doesn't have any kind of expectation for their audience? I mean, that sounds like an obviously not. They don't have any expectation for their audience, but like,
I don't know why. Maybe people don't want to go back to the fundamentals or some of the basics because that's already been done. So let me try to do something extraordinary or something different. People want different. No one wants the same old thing. Or maybe you have, actors like Eva Longoria and award-winning Ben Affleck.
Award-winning director Ben Affleck.
Yeah, award-winning director Ben Affleck directing movies that he shouldn't be directing. Or even a point you brought up, I don't know if it was last episode or a few episodes ago, that you don't typically have the director and the writer be the same person of a film. So the story gets lost, or the some of these tools, filmmaking tools, get lost. So there might be something to that, because I'm assuming Ari Aster did both for this one too, right? Yeah, written and directed.
It's just kind of strange because, I mean, you might be right, but then why does every greatest film list or people's greatest batch of movies that they love always come from like the 50s and 60s and stuff? Are they...
I don't know anyone whose favorite batch of movies come from then.
Yeah, I don't actually personally know either.
I don't know what.
Except,
what
I guess I do know one person who thinks Citizen Kane is the greatest movie of all time. But is that just because he was told so?
Yeah.
By a fun teacher. No, he's like, yo, we're going to cover Citizen Kane soon.
How long is that movie? How old is that movie?
Citizen Kane might be from the early 1960s. I'm not sure exactly.
60s. We're watching history, you mean?
We are watching history. I mean, it's often considered to be the greatest film of all time, so it's sort of, on some level, it is kind of historically important. Whether you like it or not, I guess it's in people's minds to some degree that they feel like they need to reference it a lot. And is that just because everybody's in this clique, in this in group, and you need to, it's basically your way to, it's like this code to let people know that, that we know.
Yeah.
And then behind closed doors, they're like in this secret society, and then they talk about how they really feel. But I don't know.
Yeah, your guess is just as good as mine. I think people just don't know. They don't think about things personally. They just read or base it off of, a person they admire, what they have to say. That just happens to be older, so of course they're gonna like Citizen Kane and, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, or...
That's not even old.
That's... How old's that?
20 years?
Holy shit.
I guess that's kind of old now.
That's old, 20 years?
That's
For that to be somebody's great example of a horror film, or people who say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like, that was the lamest movie I've seen in my life, next to Bunny Man.
Yeah, I would think as a film enthusiast or whatever, video game enthusiast, music enthusiast, I would think you'd always want to bring up the most recent great things and not just not just grasp onto what once was, If you were an actual fan, if you were an actual critic of this stuff, I would think you'd want the new and improved and what's pushing, cutting edge. And it's just a little weird that a lot of love for film specifically is stuck in the past, because I don't feel like that exists in music. I don't think anyone references Chopin and Bach and Beethoven like they do with Casablanca and Grand Illusion and Citizen Kane and Seven Samurai and things like that. I don't think anyone references it quite like that.
Yeah. There's
more time in between the two, between modern movies and the the 30s, 40s, 50s movies and classic orchestra music, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and modern music. There's more time in between the two, so maybe it's a little bit different. But you see the same thing in video games a lot too. And but that's the reciprocal, really. There's way less time, and then we're still referencing the old stuff too much.
Yeah, I think people just at a certain, I don't know what age, but at a certain age or at a certain point in their lives, they stop being curious. They stop investigating. That's
sad. That's sad. I was hoping you wouldn't say that because I can't. I hope, and I feel like you're similar too. You can't wait to find that next cool ass thing.
Mm-hmm.
RRR?
Fucking awesome.
Great movie. I would have never watched that 3 years ago because I just didn't watch movies. But, like that's, you gotta think outside of your country. You need to think about movies, genres you may not normally like and stuff. Like,
yeah.
You got time for it. Is that a problem with people? You've got time for it. Come on. What else is there to do?
If you have time to spend 4 hours scrolling through TikTok or social media, you have time for this.
Exactly. How do we get on that?
We were talking about Ari Aster and using, the foreshadowing techniques.
Oh, and why modern movies don't use them. Towards the end, Annie is trying to get the husband. What's his name?
Steve.
Annie's trying to get Steve to burn the book, and she's like freaking out because she's gonna catch on fire. She throws it in there, and he's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's just awesome because he's having it, he's listening, but he's patient, right? He's tolerant, but he's finally gonna open up and say, Annie, you need help. Annie, you need to talk to someone about this. And so I think she gives him the book, and she pours like a little kerosene on it or gasoline or something on it, right? And he's like, I'm not going to participate in your games. And she's just like, well, fuck it then. She blows up finally, and she's like, I'm going to do it. And she throws the book in the fireplace, and Steve bursts into flames.
That was fucking awesome.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's so awesome. And then that's like the second thing that happens, I guess, with the end there, because I think right before that's when Peter smashes his face against the desk and he gets taken home, and then that night Steve bursts into flames, and then everything else fucking happens, and it's just like one thing after the next, and it's so cool, man. I wish I got spooked because I'm almost there with this movie. It's like I'm getting teased on that sensation. I'm almost spooked. It's so good. But I love it. I just love it so much. I don't even get spooked, and I love it. And what's your favorite scene?
Oh, my favorite scene.
When she gets her head knocked off?
When she gets her head knocked off.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Since he rushes her to the car, you realize what happened. You realize she ate some brownies or cake or whatever with nuts in it.
But before that, were you thinking when they were at the party, when Peter told her to go eat some cake or whatever, go stand in line, they'll give you a piece. Were you thinking at that point? Well, I guess you'd seen the movie,
right?
But was your ignorant mind's eye, some part of your brain that wasn't paying attention last time, thinking, are there nuts in that cake?
No, the first time I watched it, no, I didn't think anything.
You weren't thinking that?
She was just at a party. Her brother told her to fuck off. She found some cake. She's like, I'm gonna eat this cake. All of a sudden, she's choking, and I'm like, what is going on? It didn't click. And then she's, having an allergic reaction. He rushes her to the car. It's gonna drive her to the hospital. God knows where they are and how far away a hospital is, and they don't have the EpiPen. I don't know. Like, you're freaking out, and I'm freaking out. I don't do too well in, freak out situations. So I'm feeling for this, I'm feeling for Peter. I'm feeling for him. And then driving her wherever he's going to go, because you see out ahead and you see nothing. You don't see a city. You don't see lights in the distance.
Yeah.
You don't, she's fucked.
It's a long freak out scene too, isn't it?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And she can't breathe, and you can't breathe. I mean, I'm choking watching her choke. She rolls down the window, and you're like, okay, maybe she's gonna get fresh air. She sticks her head out, and bam, her head comes off clean. He just slams on his brake, and he's still.
Yeah, that bit probably right there is the most Lynchian little bit we get in the whole movie. Is that just? It maybe could have been even 15 seconds longer too. It would have been so good. Him just sitting in the car, teary-eyed, not wanting to look in the rearview mirror, which he hardly does. It's so good.
Like, he glances up there, and then he like glances back down.
And we don't really get to see it. We see like her jacket or something. We don't see like the neck part or
anything.
Yeah,
he couldn't look.
Yeah,
he never looked.
Gives me chills. I got chills.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
And what do you do? What do you do? What do you do in that situation? What do you do? You wake up your parents and you tell them, hey, so here's what happened. She's in there, headless. Do you still drive her to the hospital? Do you pick up the head? Do you call your parents? Do you call the police? Do you go home and just go crawl in bed and let them figure it out in the morning? That sounds like a nice option.
Yeah.
Because, man, what do you do? Poor Peter. It's definitely the coolest death scene I've ever seen in any movie.
Oh, wow.
I know there's one, and I can't think of it. And I've said it on another episode. I don't remember.
I remember you like that cheese grater bit and...
Oh, yeah, that was
Evil
awesome.
Dead Rise.
That was fucking awesome.
Even before they get in the car, what did you think about Peter's reaction when Charlie goes up into the room where they're smoking pot? She's like, Peter, I can't breathe. And Peter's like, dude, what the fuck did you eat? What's wrong? You know, he's pretty gentle with her. He's not mad or anything. And it's like, and then the next scene, they're in the car. Or he's putting her in the car and they're off. I like that.
It makes it worse. Or it makes how you feel for Peter worse.
Because he's not a piece of shit.
Because Charlie wasn't even supposed to be at the party. It's the fucking psycho mother who forced both of them to take Charlie. Charlie didn't want to go. Peter obviously didn't want to take her. But, you know, here's your mom fucking meddling where she shouldn't be. And now your kid's dead. So how about a PSA here? Don't force your kids to go where they don't want to go. You know? And, you know, Peter didn't fucking go, you know, smack Charlie on the side of the head and say, you're not going to that party. Or tell mom you're not going to that party. You know, like some kids would. Some teenagers would. Get onto the kid, not be mad at the mom. They would be mad at the little kid for existing, for having the audacity to listen to their mom. And no, Peter is not like that at all. He's like, okay, he understands. He's like, okay, I'll take Charlie. And then, you know, how gentle he was. And, it's worse. It makes it all worse for him.
It also makes the blow-up scene at the kitchen table much more effective because, you know, we know Peter's not a piece of shit kid.
Yeah.
And it also really kind of elevates their relationship, him and his mom. Because when they do talk occasionally, they are kind of snarky with each other. And then the mom kind of just puts the ball in his court and it's like, she basically is acting like, you know, they're both acting like 7, 8-year-olds, right? And she's not really taking any accountability on that front. And so she just is like, well, Peter, you know, is acting snarky and snobby with me or whatever. And it's like, well, you match that energy. You're one and the same right now with that. You know, you guys need a kind of heart-to-heart moment, which they don't really get. I guess they sort of get it, but not really.
When?
Yeah, well, I guess the mom tries to, but she does it in such like a manic way when she wants to do the seance. She gets romantic about it, and Peter's kind of freaked out by it. You remember?
Yeah.
She wakes him up. She's like, "Oh, I love you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said anything." And Peter's just like,
But she's just lying.
"Yeah." So I guess I take that back. Not really any heart to heart, but
Yeah. No. She just wants to use him.
yeah.
Now, this movie is awesome.
What do you think about the setup with Joan and Annie? Got a little bit of a Beau's Afraid vibe there with, there's this, they kind of how the therapist was, how kind of the therapist knew his mom was working for his mom. Joan knew the grandma.
Yeah, that was very eerie to find out in the end that they were connected.
Yeah, it's cool.
And you're like, why? Why is she there? How does she know the grandma? What is going on here?
Yeah.
So it's, it's a bit confusing and it makes you think, and then you find out the fucking truth.
Yeah. And they set that up just slightly with Annie. Is that her name? No.
Annie? Yeah.
What's the grandma's name?
Ellen.
Ellen. Oh, okay. I was thinking Elaine, but I think that's the girl from Beau's Afraid. When Annie goes up to Joan's apartment and she sees that mat on the floor and she's like, "Huh, where'd you get that mat? Or did you make that mat?" She said it in such a way that didn't really lead you on too much to thinking that, yeah, Annie's mom made that for Joan.
Yeah, no, I didn't think of that until after you see them in the box.
Yeah, you're like,
stuff around, you're
damn.
like, oh no.
And that is it's so subtle and slick, but then when you look back on it, you're like, fuck, it's so obvious,
Yeah.
It's so good. And as far as like little devices go, little techniques go, that is just great cinematic storytelling, Why can't we get more of that? It's so easy. Come on. You just gotta, I guess you gotta first have an interesting story to tell, and then you can kind of.
Well, that's the first problem right there.
That is a major. that is a problem.
I'd also forgotten how creepy the end was when
It doesn't hold back, does it?
No, oh my god, like I'm even thinking about it now and I'm getting goosebumps. Like the mom sawing her head off. That was I'd forgotten all about that. That was crazy. That made me not want to look.
Yeah, and then right after that, when Peter jumps out of the window into the bushes, you can still hear it. And then you hear her body drop, or her head drop, or whatever.
You hear the thud of her head, yeah.
And you're just like, wow, it's so good. It's so subtle. It's so, like, if it didn't happen, would you notice that was missing? I don't know. But, like, oh my God. And I also like it when they're I think it's when Peter sees his dad's burnt body. The camera turns to him, and you see that naked guy in the doorway, and like he's in the shadows.
Oh my gosh, I'd forgotten about those. Yes, those are so creepy. And you also see them
in the attic.
No, you see them out in the field.
Yeah.
Was it when Charlie was still alive? Is that when we saw them? After she had that little bird's head in her jacket, I think.
Yeah, and then it immediately goes like daytime right after.
Yeah,
which I love those like this light switch. Very cool. Very fucking cool. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when that happened. I can see it in my mind's eye, but I can't.
Oh my gosh, I'd forgotten all about those. I still have goosebumps now.
I know, right? And remember that the guy in the doorway when Peter was in the when Peter was in the the living room or whatever where his dad was burnt up. That guy in the doorway, the naked guy who was smiling, was the guy who was smiling at the funeral. when Charlie looked over.
Yeah.
And he was like, he just had a weird look to him, big, burly dude.
Oh my god.
Wide eyes, creepy, Evil Dead Rise smile.
I'd forgot. I didn't even put that together.
But you can't. It's so fucking good because at the funeral he's not front and center. He's behind a few guys, and you're like, and it's pretty quick. It sticks on him for a second or two, but you can see him, but he's kind of obscured.
Yeah, all you think is, oh, there's just a man in the back just smiling at a little girl because her grandma died.
I mean, and Charlie's creepy looking, and that guy's creepy looking. It's like things kind of check out. You're just like, all right, creepy people. We're good. But then in that bit with Peter, if you're not looking if you don't have your glasses on, if you specifically don't have your glasses on, or if you're not focusing in on them, you won't even notice it's the same guy. It's the same guy.
Holy shit. I'm probably not going to be looking at creepy people with that detail. I'm just not.
You're not.
My eyes are gonna
the
close.
naked people in the shadows are not drawing your eye.
No,
you're looking away.
I'm looking away.
Oh shit! I'm trying to see.
You're trying to see.
Who is that? Is that Joan?
And I'm like, nope. Let me know when they're off the screen.
And then I don't even know how we haven't brought it up yet. That when Annie finds her mom's body in the fucking attic, burnt up or something, like some weird looking kind of treatment to it. And then right after with the funeral, Steve, the dad, gets the phone call.
That's right.
About someone fucking with the grave and the body's missing and stuff. And he didn't want to tell Annie because she's off her rocker right now, and it's awesome. So
did Annie take her out? In one of her crazy psycho moments where she's trying to kill her kids?
Yeah.
Digging up bodies?
Yeah, she's a sleepwalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sleepwalking, some people have some crazy stories with sleepwalking.
And the husband knew. Steve knew. Because he didn't, I guess he didn't know the whole time, but when she said it, he was like, you probably dug her up.
Yeah.
She's like, what? No. Like, yes, you did. Yes, you fucking did.
Fucking crazy, girl.
Oh my gosh.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
It's a great, awesome movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely recommend. I wouldn't watch this by myself.
Yeah, I do recommend watching this movie if you haven't seen it for the first time, which you really shouldn't be listening to this if you haven't seen it for the first time, but you should watch it by yourself in the dark, headphones.
Nope. I am not advertising that.
At night.
Nope.
It's important, but I get that some people are just not capable of setting that up for themselves because it might spook you.
I would have a heart attack if I did that with any horror movie. I guarantee it. I'd probably start crying. No joke. I don't think I'm capable of it. I have to have all the lights on. If there's windows, all the curtains up. Make sure the windows are locked, though. You got to make sure those windows are locked.
The curtains are up, though?
The curtains
They're
are
not
up.
closed?
Yeah, for daylight. Daytime.
What if someone's looking in?
Holy shit. Now I don't know. All right.
Curtains closed, lights on.
Thin curtains. No, the more daylight, the better.
The light itself isn't enough?
No.
It needs to be light outside, too? Oh,
Heck
shit.
yeah. What if the lights go out?
Do you have to be on the phone with someone, too?
You have to be on the phone with someone. Of course. I thought that was obvious. And you need to have your happy, maybe Disney Pixar movie picked out, ready to go after you're done with this movie.
That's interesting.
Just saying.
I wish I knew more demon names. Payman. And then I'd just say them.
Nope.
I'm just gonna say them out loud to people. But I only know Payman. We should have learned a couple from the Pope's Exorcist, probably.
Oh yeah.
But
you should have a little notebook that has all the demon names you've learned.
Yeah.
And that'd be hilarious if you accidentally drop it and someone picks it up and
they'd be wigged out, probably.
Hell yeah.
I'd probably make copies and drop them. What do you think about the name Hereditary? The title?
I never thought about it, but that's a pretty good title. It's a pretty good title. It's so subtle because nothing in the movie is really about Hereditary until the end, and you realize that the mom and then the daughter and then that daughter and probably generations of this has been fucking going on.
It certainly seems that way, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
especially
a good title.
When you think of Hereditary, I think you think of, something like illnesses or science or
positive traits that have been passed down.
That have been passed down, yeah.
Not this shit.
Yeah.
Not demons being passed down.
It's cool. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very good title.
I wonder who the Payman host was before. I guess before Charlie, the proper male body. I wonder who was it before. Was it Annie's dad, I wonder? We didn't get any of Annie's dad.
Wonder if it was like a sibling. Annie's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet you there's something there. I bet you there's a clue somewhere in there.
Yeah, because if I had to guess, when a demon is inhabiting, your mortal body, it doesn't last as long as if it wasn't. I imagine a demon inside you is not. It wears you out.
What if it was that creepy dude at the funeral?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't think so, but because I guess one thing we do learn about demon lore throughout other movies is when you extract a demon of a high rank, you don't live. And so if that demon left him, I guess who's to say,
he was actually there?
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. It's because those weren't people in the treehouse. They were inhabited by other demons, right? Yeah. So he probably had a demon in him. Someone else, not Payman.
Holy shit, those are demon friends? You and your demon friends go take over people, and then you have...
Yeah, I think same thing with Annie, with her headlessness, and then the grandma. The grandma may have dug herself up.
Holy shit. This movie gets creepier the more I think about it.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Good fucking job, Ari Aster. Good job. Good job, dude. Did he win anything for this? I'm sure it has.
It's won several things.
Yeah, I think you said that. Good. Oh, and even, the budget for the film and how much it made. That's amazing.
It puts so many movies to shame. That's one of the funnier things about movies like this and Beau's Afraid and even Midsommar and The Whale, of course, right? How much did The Whale cost? Something like $5 million. Sure, it was in only one bedroom, one apartment, right? But it's kind of funny when... It's kind of like we were talking about in Beau's Afraid podcast, actually, that when you have these restraints, something like budget or maybe team and stuff, but in this specific case, kind of your budget, it forces you to elevate different corners of your craft, forces you to get creative, right? Yep. Forces you, Ari Aster only had $2 million to work with, so that's really not that much money.
Yeah.
For making a movie. And where did he put that? He put that where it was needed, and then he made sure he had killer performances, killer camera guys, killer lighting, killer effects. He put it where things mattered, and it makes movies that cost $200 million to shame, because those are 9 times out of 10 going to be just completely, over encumbered with CG. It's just like, I imagine you could have probably saved money if you just made the thing. Paychecks could have been bigger or something. I don't know. And it would have looked real because you would have had real things on camera. Actors probably would have given better performances because they would have had real things to work with. That's true. They could have acted and gotten into that role, because that's kind of important for an actor, right? Is to trick themselves into that's their whole thing, That's why it's really cool and makes The Whale even that much more authentic and sadder, is because his suit weighed 300 pounds. Sure, he didn't have the life of a 500-pound person, but he did experience the literal force on your joints, and how much it weighs you down, how hard it is to get off your couch and out of your bed and off the toilet seat and stuff.
He said he was sweating nonstop.
Yeah.
Can you imagine acting, trying to be, this dude, and you're just sweating?
Acting, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but I think it does go worth saying that I think acting is underappreciated.
Oh, for sure.
It's funny to say that because actors are collectively probably amongst the most paid people on the planet. But, that's not the mark of appreciating someone. That's not the only mark of appreciating someone either. But And then probably, I mean, it's probably worth saying too that your highest paid actors, such as The Rock, probably don't quite deserve the pay grade they're on.
Yep.
You know, he might in some way, I guess, get butts in the seats. I don't know how. I don't know on what level. Is he a meme or whatnot? I don't know, but there's something there, right? But how? And then we have people like Joaquin Phoenix and Beau is Afraid, probably the greatest actor working today, and he wasn't enough. You know, he wasn't enough to elevate that movie into commercial success. So, just kind of interesting. Yeah, man. Well, do you have any final thoughts that you want to tell me about this movie? I'm sure something will come up later, but I had a great conversation with you, and I thank you for watching this movie with me. I know it's hard to watch horror movies sometimes. You know, you get scared, but they're also a guilty pleasure for you, right?
Yeah. For sure. I'm never going to not watch scary movies
good.
now.
I saw they added Evil Dead Rise on HBO Max, where the fuck they're calling it today.
Oh,
so
okay.
go watch that. It's available in a streamlined manner now, and now you don't have to go to some sketchy bootleg site to see it. You can just go to HBO Max. Great film too.
Go watch Hereditary. Go watch it. Watch Beau's Afraid. Go watch Hereditary. Appreciate both.
Well, now we have to cover Midsommar at some point. The missing trinity of Ari Aster films.
Yeah, I think I will definitely watch that in a new light for sure. Both literally and figuratively. You know, I'll wear my glasses this time and watch it on a TV that's not 15 feet away.
Yeah, I will say it's probably the weirder of the three, which is kind of funny because Beau's Afraid is pretty weird, but it feels a little bit more in tune with Hereditary. There's something similar there that happens, but there's the whole college gang going to Sweden thing is a little weird in Midsommar. It's a little.
I think we definitely need to rewatch it too.
Yeah, because we need to we'll rewatch it. Because I like the setting, I like the color grading, I like what happens, I like how long a lot of the takes are and stuff, and I like Florence Pugh's performance very easily, her best performance. She's, you know, she needs another shot at something like that because she's not getting it anywhere else. Don't worry, darling. I don't know, go watch it. Tell me what you think. It's not very good. But, yeah. Great movie. I highly recommend it. What did you give it on your letterbox?
I don't remember.
What would you change it to? Whatever it is. What would it be right now?
I'd probably give it a 4.
A 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's 4.5 in my book.
In your book? Yeah, I'd go to 4. I'd have to think about it.
It's good to hear. I'm glad you appreciate this film. I'm glad you appreciate Ari Aster.
I mean, how can you not?
I mean, I agree. It's hard. It's completely. I can't fathom how it's not just. You just can't gush over him.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. He's also underrated. Hereditary. You know, everybody knows Hereditary, but like, no one. It seems like people only shit on Midsommar, and no one fucking saw Beau's Afraid apparently. So it's just. I hope his next project doesn't suffer, but at the same time, if he has to work with another $10 million budget, I don't know if there's any harm in that because it's going to force him to make some really creatively, you know, interesting moves because he's a fucking filmmaking chess player, you know. He knows how to pull out that Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Whatever move that is.
Yeah. Hopefully it's him and Joaquin Phoenix again. Make something great.
All right, you guys. Take care. Appreciate your loved ones more often. And do the right thing.
Do the right thing. I like that. Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon, and follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, or movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching, keep loving the magic of movies. This is the Filmistines, signing off.